Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ham Radio University 2023. This is the introduction to Ham Radio University and the newcomers meeting. My name is Diane Ortiz. My call sign is K2DO. And this is our 24th year of Ham Radio University. So we're looking forward to a great day today. A lot of people ask, what is HRU? Why is it also the ARRL New York City Long Island Convention? Well, Ham Radio University was started 24 years ago in early January to try and reinvigorate ham radio operators in our area. It was an in-person event, and so far, every year it's been in person, except the past few years with COVID, we've had to go to this online format. And this is part of the American Radio Relay League New York City Long Island Convention to help promote the ARRL and ham radio in general. And I'm going to turn it over just for a moment to our section manager, ARRL New York City Long Island section manager, Jim. Jim, you want to introduce yourself and say a few words?
Yeah, okay. I'm here. My name is Jim Measy, and I am the New York City Long Island section manager. And my function basically is to promote amateur radio with all the clubs, and I'm the field manager for this section. And the section goes from New York City, like Staten Island, all the way out to Montauk Point. We have 43 clubs in this section. We have a great MCOM group, and I hope everybody's going to have a great day today. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. That's great. So we talked about the NLI section. So we have people here on HRU because it's online. We have people from all over the world, and many of you may not be familiar with how the United States is divided up by the American Radio Relay League. So on screen, you'll see the different divisions, and where we are is the New York City Long Island section. So you'll see that yellow arrow, and our section is part of the Hudson Division. There are 15 total divisions across the United States and 71 sections in the United States. So now, let's take a poll. We'd like to find out a little bit more about you. For those of you who are ham, so we're going to ask you, where's your QTH? So just take a moment. Hopefully you're awake, have had your coffee, and you can take a moment to answer our poll. Okay, so the poll is open. You could just take a moment. Just click on the and I just want to mention and thank all the people on the HRU committee who've made this happen, the people behind the scenes who you don't see, we'll introduce them later. They're the ones who are putting up the poll and taking control. Okay, so in a moment, we're going to close the poll and let's see the responses. Okay, so I can't see them. So let's see how that poll breaks down.
26% New York City or Long Island, 3% elsewhere in New York State, 6% Connecticut or New Jersey, 58% elsewhere in the United States, 6% somewhere else in the world.
Okay, that's great. So we have people from all over. Okay. Thanks so much. And that was George N2GA, who is one of the people in the background controlling a lot of the things that you're going to see on your screen and in the forums that you're going to see today. Hang on just one second here and let me get to the next screen. Okay, so a lot of people ask, well, what was the first ham radio university? Okay, So here we are. This was one of the first groups, some of the founding members. From left to right, we have Tom, KA2D, who's giving a forum today, and our past founder, Phil, N2MUN, who unfortunately passed away last year before last, and George, N2GA, and that's me, Diane, K2DO. So where was it and when was it? It was in January of 2000, and it was at the Phillips Center in Babylon on Long Island, New York, the Phelps Lane Center of the town of Babylon. And it was mostly classrooms. You'll see the table that was set up. We had a big room for a cafeteria, and we had a lot of different forums. So here's an idea. Here's our first flyer for HRU 2000. We had 15 different forums, and a big hit was free coffee and donuts. And you'll see all the different amateur radio organizations that participated. And you'll see a list. This is a partial list of some of the forums. And you'll see many of the people on that list are giving forums again. They've stuck with us, most notably Mel, KS2G, who does the contesting forum, and myself. A lot of us have stayed with HRU through the years. Just a nod to our founder, Phil, and to MUN. We miss him a lot. He was a great ham, a real thinker. And as you can see, he was a member of many, many different clubs and organizations and an active ham. We miss him very much. And we hope to continue and honor him by continuing Ham Radio University. So why HRU? This is one of the ham radio universities we had at Long Island University, a live event, which we hope to go back to possibly next year, depending how things are with COVID and everything else. This year, unfortunately, we had to go, or fortunately for those of you outside the area who can attend when it's online, we may go to a partial live and partial online Ham Radio University next year. And at the end of the forums, you will get a survey. So if that's something that's interesting to you, you might want to mention it or send us email. By the way, at the end of this forum, I will take questions on your dashboard on the upper right. You can ask questions at any time, and I'll get to them at the end of the forum and hopefully have all your questions answered. So Ham Radio University, again, was developed and formatted to help people get back into ham radio. A lot of people got their licenses, maybe just a novice class way back when, or a technician, or even a general or extra, or an advanced when that used to be a license, and then never became active, or maybe were active for a little bit, only got on one mode, and never explored all the different areas of ham radio. So we're trying to reinvigorate them and help them get back into the hobby and find something that's interesting for them. So a couple of tips. The forums are all being recorded and they will be on our YouTube channel, but it does take a little while to get that done. So please be patient. Don't expect it tomorrow. It will be a little while. We have people with a tremendous amount of expertise putting it together, but it does take a lot of work afterwards to get it up on YouTube. But so don't worry, if you miss something, you'll be able to see it later on. And again, don't forget to submit your questions at any time, not just to me, but at any of the forums. Use that dashboard on your screen to put in your questions. And most of the moderators do the Q&A at the end of the forum. And don't forget that great exit survey. We'd like to find out how we can be even better for next year. So a lot of people ask, well, you know, there's 2 or 3 forums going on at the same time. What if there's 2 that I want to see at the same time? Can I do that? Yes, you can. Just make sure to register for both of them and use different means to see each one. Maybe use your laptop computer for one and see the other one on your phone or tablet. So let's get more info on the forums. So now we're going to switch over to the HRU website and give you some tips on what to see and what the forums are all about. So I'm going to wait for George N2GA to bring that up. Good. Okay, so here you see on the HRU website, and that's hamradiouniversity.org/forums. You can just click on forums at the top. And here they are by date and time. And don't forget that time is Eastern Standard Time. And it does show the UTC time for those of you outside of the area. And you can register for any of these throughout the day. So if you see a forum that you didn't register for yet, don't worry. Go ahead and register for it now. And that'll be fine. You'll get an email right away with your joint link, your joining link. And if yours is later in the day, you'll get another reminder with a copy of that link again at an hour before your forum starts. So this is my forum. That's me at our station. And you'll see the registration link in red over there. And when you click register, it brings up a little screen that describes the forum in a little bit greater detail. So again, this is for people who've probably never been to HRU before. Although over the years, I think we've gotten a lot of hams all over the world who've come to HRU to find out more about ham radio. So if we scroll down, the next forums this morning, which start at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, are the Emergency Communications Forum with our new NLI Section Manager, Jim Measy, W2KFV. We're also going to have Ria, N2RJ, and other panelists. So if you don't know too much about the ARRL, even if you're not from the US and want to find out more about what we're doing with emergency communications and how we're using different modes to help us do that and ask questions, that's the forum for you. If you've thought about joining the ARRL and maybe haven't because you don't know enough about it, that's the place to go. So also, if you're a new ham, or if you've only been on VHF, UHF, if you've only been on maybe 2 meters or 440 and the other bands, and you want to build your first HF station to get on the low bands, the forum on the right is for you with Neil KC2KY, building your first HF station. He's going to go through what you need to do, how you choose a radio, how do you know what antenna to put up, how do you connect it all, how do you power your radio, what are all the little details that maybe are a mystery to you. So if you're a new ham or you're building your first station, that's the forum to tune into. Again, same thing, registration link on the bottom. You do have to register for each forum individually. So following that, we have another 2 great forums. So now you've got your HF station together. What do you do next? Well, the basics of HF operating will be an overview with Mel, KS2G, who's given forums and is one of the original people with Ham Radio University. So he's a seasoned DXer contest operator, and he'll tell you a little bit more about what the different bands and their characteristics are. So great next forum after the one with Neil is this one, the basics of HF operating. Again, same thing, go through the registration link and sign up for that forum, sorry. So at the same time, so let's say, okay, you have your station all hooked up. What have you done about grounding? Do you know that there are millions of lightning strikes all over the world every day? So Don, WB2BEZ, is an electrical engineer and his specialty is grounding. And this has been a very, very popular forum, especially for those of you, anybody here that's in the northwestern Florida area and Texas, 2 of the places where there are a tremendous amount of lightning strikes. It's really important to be safe and know how to ground your station to protect it, not just from lightning, but any other electrical issues. So that's a great forum for those of you who've already set up your station and want to know the details about grounding. And Don is the one to ask if you have any questions about that. After that, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay, contesting, one of my favorite things. Contest expert Mel, KS2G, will go over all about contesting, strategies, tactics, things you need to know about contests and how to optimize your station to whether you're a small station or a large station. He'll go over details about contesting. You know, you don't have to have a 100-foot antenna and massive, 100-foot tower and massive antennas to be successful at contesting. And he'll give you some details on how he's optimized his station and how what you can do to be successful and have fun on contests. When I'm talking about contests, QRP, low power. You can have as little as 5 watts and still get on contests and be competitive. So if you want to know how to do that and how to set up a small station, maybe build something, you can get on with John, W2XS, who's an expert on low power operating, and find out more about this very popular mode. And then one of my favorites, amateur radio, satellites in space, with satellite expert Peter, W2JV. He'll tell you more about the different satellites that are out there. There are many of them that are being used by amateur radio operators. You don't need a lot of equipment, it doesn't have to be hundreds of dollars. He'll go through how to set up your station, what's available out there for you to contact, and the fun that you can have operating amateur radio satellites in space. So those are 3 that are going to be on at the same time. After that, let's say, okay, you've gotten on your station. How do you log your contacts? You know, it used to be we used paper. Yeah, some of you who've been a ham as long as I have, and I've been a ham over 50 years, remember paper logging, especially for field day. We used to have very, very large poster-sized pieces of paper where we used to keep our logs. You don't have to do that anymore. It's so much easier on the computer. And Tom, KA2D, really is an expert on all of them. Logbook of the World as a way to QSL, N1MM, and all these other different programs, most of them free, that are available to you on your computer to log your contacts. And that's the way most of us now also file for awards, etc. So that's a very interesting format for you. Okay, so over here, I lost what's on there, but it doesn't matter. So let me see if I can see over here what the next form is. And we're just going to get back that screen. Okay, great. Thank you, George. We all need a little help sometimes. Okay, so Morse code. No, it's not dead. It's alive and well and kicking. So Howard, WB2UZE, is going to talk about Morse code, and the members of his very large club, the Long Island CW Club, are going to talk about their favorite keys, new and old, and why they enjoy using them. So that's always been a popular forum. So also, at the same time, if you're more interested in putting together your station, Richie, K2KNB, who happens to be the current president of the Long Island Mobile Amateur Radio Club, is going to go over cables and connectors, how to use them, how to connect them, why you want different cables and connectors for different uses. So also a very interesting forum today at 12 o'clock. So after that, at 1 o'clock, we have some other very interesting forums. So DXing, what is DXing? Why do people like to do it? Well, to me, a lot of the fun of ham radio is talking to people all over the world and not on the computer or the cell phone. Like doing it on the radio. So the ABCs of DXing, Tom, who's a great DXer, KA2D, is going to talk about how do you use stations? Where are they? A lot of things that you can do. How do you exchange QSL cards? Learn about propagation. When can you find certain stations on the air? And so tune into his station, his forum for the ABCs of DXing. Also, there's so many digital modes now. The HF digital modes, including the very popular FT8 and WSPR, Neil Goldstein, W2NDG, is an expert and will go through the different types of software that you need for digital modes, also the standardizations that are coming and how to do it and what it's about. And that again is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have one of my favorites also, Parks on the Air. Dennis Boyer, AH2O, is going to be going here from a state park. How do you know if your state park is on the list of parks that have been activated before, or maybe you're going to be the first one to activate a park? It's a very interesting and very popular mode these days. So learn more about it, learn how to hunt them, log them, or be what they call an activator of a state park yourself. You don't need a lot of equipment to do it. And there's a picture of him at the state parks. He's outside with his laptop and a little computer and probably just a small antenna. And he's getting on talking to people all over the world looking to work him as a station in a state park. So those are the forums at 1 o'clock. And then at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have another set of great forums. Software-defined radios with Ria N2RJ, who's also our Hudson Division Director. So you probably already know, but maybe not, that you can get on the air as a ham radio operator, and you don't even need to have a physical radio. You can do it all on your computer. So learn more about it, what you need to do, how to do it with her forum, Software-Defined Radios. And again, that's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Raspberry Pi applications for ham radio with Neil, W2NDG. He'll go into what you need to use this popular mode. There's so many different things that you can do with these Raspberry Pi boards. So if you want to learn more about how to use them and what you can do with them, tune in and register for his forum. Next, we also have a forum that's very practical, learning about HF antennas with KC2KY, Neil. So there's so many different inexpensive antennas that you can use and put up no matter where you live. So tune into his forum, register, so you can have a lot of fun with antennas, learning how to use the one that's going to be easiest and best for you. So definitely tune into his forum to find out more about that. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to show my screen. Back again. Okay, welcome back. All right, so over here, we talked about seeing two forms at the same time. So now that I described them, now you know what you can do if there's more than one at the same time that interests you. All right, so you're wondering, who are the people behind the scenes? So we have our chairman, Tom, KA2D. And Tom, are you on if you want to say a few words? Okay, Tom, KA2D, are you there? I don't know if you're able to get on at this point. I know Tom had an electrical issue yesterday, a power issue. A lot of places across the country had some problems, but I don't know, Tom, if you're there, come on in. Nope, that's okay. You'll hear him on his forum. Maybe he'll come in at the end. And this is a list of everybody who's giving forums, who's been on the committee, has been working all year to work hard for this. Okay. So I don't. Okay, let's see. Show my screen. Oh, okay. So if you're on here, any committee members, you can show your screen if you can. Anybody on at this point? Okay, George into GA. I don't know if you can see him there. And Tom, you're there, KA2D. Tom, you want to say a few words? Okay, Tom, I think you're muted. Okay. Okay, George is going to unmute you. So just give us a minute.
he's self-muted.
Okay. All right, that's okay. But many of these people are behind the scenes. Many of them, as you can see from the forum list, are going to be giving presentations today. If we can, I'd like to just go back to the website again. So George, if you can bring us back to the website. Okay, there are a couple of things I wanted to show everybody here. If you've just gone on to the website to sign up for a forum, you're missing a lot of interesting information. So we're just waiting to get and show and see George's screen. Okay, so if you could go to the main page, George, the home page of hamradiouniversity.org. I wanted to show kind of what's there on the top. So of course we have the list of forums, and where we were before where is current forums. So if you just click on list of forums, you can see all the forums going back for a few years. You can find some interesting information there. And the reason that I mention that is many of you are clubs and organizations here on Long Island. And a lot of times you're looking for presentations for your club meetings. So there, take a look at some of the past forum presenters and contact them, and many of them would be very happy to come to your club meeting or group meeting and give a forum. So take a look. If most of them are here on Long Island, sometimes some clubs are doing online forums as well. So, feel free to use that information to find and contact these amateur radio operators. Okay, so next over to the moderator bios. So if you want to learn more about the different people who are giving the forums, and George just clicked on the one for the current one, here's a description of the bios and descriptions of the different hams who are giving the presentations. So you'll get more information here about their experience, how long they've been a ham, what clubs they belong to, what do they do, and what have they done in their area of expertise or in ham radio. Most are very active hams. Many are contesters or DXers and belong to many different clubs. Some are electrical engineers and work in that, and that's where they have a lot of their expertise in their area, like Don, WB2BZ. And we're showing the QRP guy and Peter, W2JV, who's been talking about satellites and working satellites for many, many years. And again, there's Tom, KA2D, the current chairman of HRU and what he's done. So you can go through and get a little bit more information about the different moderators. And again, most of them can be contacted by their call sign at arrl.net. If not, you can look them up in QRZ. Now, if you click over to past presentations, under past presentations, again, you can see more information about different presentations that hams have given at past HRUs. And the same under previous events. If you click on that, it goes back quite a few years. You can see a lot of the handouts that were given at previous HRUs, which give a lot of information. It gives a list of clubs and organizations that have been participating. And most of them, when you click on them, it's a PDF, and you can see the list of forums is there also. And George is going to do that just to give you an idea. So this is 2018. It gives you a highlights of where it was, when it was, and a list of the different forums and the names of the presenters. So this also might be interesting to you, especially if you're a club president or someone in charge of getting programs for your club or organization. So let's go back to the main page. Again, other information. There's a lot of interesting stuff there as well. So if you click on any of those, you'll see more historical information about HRU. So if we go back to the main page again, George, I just wanted to show them the bottom of the page. Okay, and yes, there's photos, lots of photos. So if you go down to the bottom, of the Ham Radio University page. You'll see even more information down on the bottom left. There's history, there's different information about HRU, QSL information. If you work the W2 HRU station, more information about past HRUs, and that contact form, you can always use that. If you can't find something that you need, maybe you want to contact one of the presenters and you didn't grab their information, you can use that contact form to let us know. Okay, thanks, George. We can go ahead and close that. Okay, very good. Thank you.
You got it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my screen. Welcome back. All right, again, just to remind you, for more information about past HRU events, if that's something you're interested in, you can go back to our website and look through the different areas. There's a lot of photos there as well. And you might see yourself there. If you've attended an HRU, we probably have a photo of you somewhere on the website. So again, thank you for joining me this morning for the intro and newcomers meeting. Again, hope you grab a cup of coffee and have a great day going through the different forums. Don't forget, it's not too late to register. If you saw a forum that you want to attend, listen to, it's not too late to register. I believe even after the forum starts, you can register. And get that link and look at it. So at this point, I'm going to take questions. Also, please note my contact information. My call sign is Kilo 2 Delta Oscar at arrl.net. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Yeah, there's also an email for HRU called info@hamradiouniversity.org that goes to the committee. So if you have any questions or comments, if you missed the survey and you want to let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, or what you'd like to see for next year, please let us know. So are there any questions, George? Okay, let me open this up so I can see any questions. I need my glasses for this. Yes, I'm getting old.
Okay, the first question is, have you ever had tutorial radio direction finding?
Okay, so the question was, have we ever had forums on amateur radio direction finding? Yes, we have. I think it was 2 years ago was the most recent one. So if you go back on the hamradiouniversity.org website, you should be able to find that one. It might be available on the YouTube channel. It may not, because at that time I think we only videotaped certain forums, and as technology got better, we got more and more. But you can definitely find out more information about that forum by going back. And we hope to have more on that again. That's a good suggestion for next year. Any other questions, George?
Don't have any other specific questions. However, I will mention that if you're interested in a particular forum and you don't make that forum, if you go back in and use your join link, you will be able to see a recording of that forum almost right away, right after the event. And eventually those recordings will be moved over to the Ham Radio University YouTube page. So don't worry, if you missed something, you can always go back and see the recorded forum. That's all I have, Diane. If anybody else has a question, go to your questions tab on your control panel. You can just click on a little arrow to the left of the questions prompt, and that will open up a little box. And on the bottom of that box, you can enter your specific question.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, George. Well, there's so much to learn and so much to enjoy with Ham Radio University. I'm sorry we couldn't do an in-person one this year. We all wanted to do that. It was just too difficult. Unfortunately, COVID has resurfaced along with the flu, and we thought it to be most prudent to do it online again. Those of you who've been to past Ham Radio Universities, our last one was at Long Island University in Brookville, Long Island, which was fantastic and attended by more than 400 people. The classrooms that were really meant for 25 or 30 were overflowing with people. And we just thought that that would be too much of a risk. And so did the university. So it looks like we have another question, George.
Yes. What is the best place to get started to learn ham radio? I have no experience whatsoever. I am located in the Baltimore area.
Okay, well, I would start with that forum that starts at 9 o'clock. Right, I'm trying to think of what it was. Maybe George, if you could bring up that forum list again. So if you want to get started, we kind of have a track of things for people who are just beginning in ham radio. So thank you for coming to the newcomers meeting. This is a good place to start. But in terms of the forums that I would suggest, let's go over to the forum list. Okay, if you could scroll down there. Okay, building your first HF station. That's a great place to start. That'll be at a beginner's level where you can ask questions. Or if you're interested in doing EMCOM, emergency communications, and maybe just be on 2 meters or 440 using your handy talkie, etc., then I would go to the ARL forum and find out more about how you can participate. Also, don't forget to use the information we have to find your local radio club. Now, just like we showed you the different sections, I think that person was in Baltimore. So if you're in Baltimore, look on the arl.org website, find out what your local division or section is, and they'll give you a list of radio clubs in your area. Usually you put in your zip code, and then it'll come back with many different clubs in your area. If you're computer savvy, what I do when we travel, we like to find local radio clubs and attend meetings or maybe go to a ham fest or convention in the area we're visiting. So we use that, and we also Google it, and we look on Facebook, because most of these clubs and organizations have a website, and they also have a Facebook page. So you can find out a lot of information there. And most clubs are having in-person meetings again, or many of them are still using the online format. Any other questions, George? Okay, so at this point, I'm going to say thank you. Don't forget, if you still have a question, you can use the survey to let us know what you think about the forum, what you think about HRU, and also email us or send us, an email through the website or to info@hamradiouniversity.org. And also, there's my information, k2do@arl.net. And as I said, most of the presenters will have time for questions at the end. You can just type in your question in that little dialog box during the forum. Don't wait for the end, and type them in, and hopefully they'll have time to answer your questions as well. And you can also email them with your questions afterwards. I'm sure they'd all be happy to get input and hear your questions and help you out. So again, thank you so much. Enjoy HRU today, wherever you are, and hopefully we'll see you in person next year. So 7388s, 33 to the YLs out there, and see you at the forums.